Coming up on MilCyberSync, HammerCon is fast approaching. Do you have your tickets? Also ahead, quantum computing at top of mind at the White House, and officials sounding the alarm on better protecting the cyber supply chain. So get ready to get in sync with MilCyberSync.
You're watching the MilCyberSync Weekly News with your host, Nick Thomas, and news anchor, Layla Gulen.
Hello and welcome to the MilCyberSync Podcast, reporting on the latest events happening in cyber news. I'm your host, Nick Thomas. Layla Gulen has the night off, and I just wanted to remind everyone that we're coming up on your last opportunity to get your tickets to HammerCon. And with me on the show is the founder of the Military Cyber Professionals Association, the group that's putting on the conference, Mr. Joe Billingsley. Joe, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Thanks so much, Nick. Great to be here. Big fan of your work going back years, and really appreciate all your effort to bring fresh news to everybody in this community going back for a really long time. I'm so excited about our first national convention here coming up.
Awesome. So can you tell all the listeners and viewers what HammerCon is and what's involved?
Sure. It's the very first national convention of the Military Cyber Professionals Association, or MCPA. The organization, it's a 501c3 nonprofit entity, founded back over at the Naval Postgraduate School about 10 years ago, almost. And it's a national organization. It's very focused on those who are actually doing the work in the DoD, focused on cyber, hence the name, the Military Cyber Professionals Association, with a bunch of different programs from events like this to publications, all kinds of different things all over the place. But HammerCon itself, we're super excited about. It's free for MCPA members to attend. It's free for U.S. military members to attend. And also it's free for U.S. military, honorably discharged veterans, and U.S. government employees to become members of the MCPA for free. So keep that in mind. But the time is ticking down for you to apply for MCPA membership and also to register for the event because we do have limited seating. So it's going to be happening at Capital Technology University in Laurel, Maryland, only about 15-minute drive from Fort Meade. We have very gracious hosts with the university, and need to give a big shout out to Capital Technology University, also known as CapTech, and their president, Dr. Brad Sims, who happens to also be serving on the board of advisors for the MCPA, along with a lot of other senior leaders from across this community here. So it's a one-day event. It's an all-day event. Registration opens at 7:30 a.m. local time, East Coast. And there's a ton of exhibitors with different organizations from across this community, whether you're talking about governmental organizations and units to commercial folks and representatives and sponsors. And all of it is geared towards providing really interesting and useful information for people in the military cyber community. So in our main track, we have three tracks actually. We have a main track, we have a more academic and research education focused track, and we also have a more commercial and private sector oriented track. So really there's something for everybody here throughout those three tracks. In the main track, we have a couple of different panels. One panel is of representatives from the different military services talking about the state of different cyber career fields in their respective service. And one later on in the day is focused on mentorship, which is a big part of really what the MCPA is all about, and really strengthening the team that's doing this mission. We also have a number of really high impact speakers from Command Sergeant Major Cheryl Lyons, who's the senior enlisted leader for Cyber Command and NSA, to Chris Cleary, who's the principal cyber advisor for the Department of the Navy, and Nadine Nally, who's currently serving on the National Security Council, focused on defense and cyber. We also have a healthy representation from the hacker community. So we have Chris Roberts, who's going to be speaking as part of the main track. and as well as some villages that you would normally find at DEF CON, we have set up shop over at HammerCon. And those include the lockpicking village and the IoT village. And actually, the IoT village is going to be running a CTF, so there's going to be prizes as part of that as well. And at the end of the day, so there's closing remarks for the conference part of HammerCon at 4:30, and then at 5 o'clock we have an evening reception. And after some initial remarks at the evening reception and the announcement of our scholarship recipient, there's going to be a Hacker Jeopardy put on by G. Mark Hardy. So a lot of different activities going on, a lot of excitement, and we have hundreds of members of this community already signed up. And one of my favorite aspects of this event is that it's going to be catered by Mission Barbecue, one of my own personal favorites. Yes.
So you will be able to eat on site. That's awesome. That you had mentioned so many high-profile people, so many things to do. I was thinking, oh man, am I going to get a place to eat? What's going to happen there? But that's great, Joe.
Oh yeah, and everything is covered. We have refreshments in the morning, and we have a fancy barista there actually. And in the evening for the reception, that's also covered by the MCPA.
All right, so everyone that wants to attend, where can they go sign up for this?
That is hammercon.org.
All right, awesome. So again, that's going to be this Thursday, May 19th at Capital Technology University in Laurel, Maryland. Joe Billingsley, thanks for spending some time with me, sir.
Thanks, Nick, and for this and everything that you do.
All right, thank you. Government agencies are being called upon to bolster their quantum computing information sciences. President Joe Biden has signed a memorandum in an effort to mitigate the risks by devising quantum-resistant cryptography as part of the multi-year effort. A quantum computer of sufficient size and sophistication will be capable of breaking much of the public key cryptography used on digital systems across the U.S. and the world. The National Manager for National Security Systems and the Director of NSA will oversee this process across the 50-plus government departments and agencies using national security systems. These are systems that contain classified information or are otherwise critical to military or intelligence operations. The National Institute of Standards and Technology, otherwise known as NIST, and CISA will ensure critical infrastructure and other government systems also move toward quantum-resistant cryptography. Jester Stealer has become the latest malware campaign to threaten Ukraine. The country's computer emergency response team is warning of phishing attacks to steal information on compromised systems. The mass email campaign carries the subject line "chemical attack" and contains a link to a macro-laced Microsoft Excel file. The attack requires potential victims to enable macros after opening the document. It works by downloading and executing an exe file that is retrieved from compromised web resources. Jester Stealer comes with features to steal and transmit login credentials, cookies, and credit card information, along with data from password managers, chat messengers, email clients, crypto wallets, and gaming apps to the attackers. The Jester Stealer campaign coincides with another phishing attack that CertUA has attributed to the Russian nation-state actor tracked as APT-28, and we otherwise know them as Fancy Bear and Strontium. Vigilante hacking has seen targeting Russia amid its invasion and assault on Ukraine is being touted as inadvisable and raises broader questions of ethics and consequences in the digital domain. Hundreds of thousands of volunteers from across the world have reportedly joined forces around Ukraine's call for digital talent and cyber specialists, forming a so-called IT army outside typical government oversight. Officials say these actions could also complicate negotiations and de-escalation of tensions. The IT army is reminiscent of volunteers who physically traveled to Ukraine and took up arms. But hacking from home seemingly offers a sense of safety. The front lines do not. In other news, a cyber team assigned to assist Lithuania in exposing malign activity and strengthen the country's networks has concluded. Called a Hunt Forward operation, it used specialists to monitor systems, identify threats and vulnerabilities, and relay insights to sharpen defenses amid mounting Russian aggression in Eastern Europe. The 3-month mission began before Russia invaded Ukraine. A previous hunt-forward team was sent to Ukraine in 2018. Other Russian neighbors are now hardening their defenses and eyeing NATO allies, amid worries Russian President Vladimir Putin wants to reconstruct the Soviet Empire. The United States Cyber Commander says the nation's military conducted 9 hunt-forward operations last year utilizing U.S. Cyber Command teams going to a series of different countries. These hunt-forward missions deploy cyber defense specialists to assist allies in tracking down and exposing malicious activity in cyberspace. General Paul Nakasone says these are countries that have asked for the U.S.'s assistance to identify malware and combat adversaries with the help of commercial companies. He says commercial cybersecurity companies have been developing and applying AI technology to their products for years, and the Department of Defense is benefiting from that investment. The Five Eyes have also formally pinned Russia for masterminding an attack on an international satellite communication provider that had spillover effects across Europe. The cyber offensive took place an hour before the Kremlin's military invasion of Ukraine on February 24th and targeted the KA-SAT satellite network operated by telecommunications company Viasat. The action crippled the operations of wind farms and internet users in Central Europe. Viasat says it had shipped nearly 30,000 modems to distributors to restore service to customers whose modems were rendered unusable. The U.S. State Department said the digital assets against commercial satellite communication networks were orchestrated to disrupt Ukrainian military command and control capabilities during the invasion. Meanwhile, Deputy National Security Advisor for Cyber and Emerging Tech Ann Neuberger warned of potential Russian cyber attacks against satellite networks, but stopped short of attributing it an attack on U.S. satellite company Viasat to the Kremlin. The attribution of cyber attacks connected to the conflict in Ukraine has important implications for U.S. obligations. Neuberger says the U.S. would be prepared to respond if Russia targets U.S. critical infrastructure in a cyber attack. The State Department also said the U.S. Department of Energy is helping to integrate Ukraine's electrical grid with a European network of transmission systems operators for electricity. Well, we've got more to come. Millions of dollars up for grabs for information that leads to Conti kingpins after the break.
Today's network and security monitoring solutions are vulnerable to overload situations that lead to decreased visibility and undetected intrusions. Monitoring applications require hardware to keep up with real-time traffic analysis, making it complex and costly. Your security monitoring solutions may be unable to keep up during cyber attacks or traffic spikes, making intrusion more likely. A new approach is needed to increase network protection and visibility. Excelio simplifies and streamlines your network monitoring for critical security, network, and application analysis. Learn more at excelio.com.
Welcome back. Big Tech is joining forces to back a standard that will allow websites and apps to offer passwordless sign-ins across devices and platforms. Apple, Google, and Microsoft are backing the standard created by the FIDO Alliance that stops remote adversaries from carrying out phishing or man-in-the-middle attacks. The new approach means users no longer have to enroll each of their devices separately. So, if a user drops their phone in the toilet and has to purchase a new one, Android can seamlessly restore the passkeys from a secure backup on the internet. But experts say that having each vendor take a proprietary approach to passwordless sign-in would be of little benefit since many consumers use operating systems and browsers from different software makers. New capabilities allowing for more seamless and secure passwordless sign-ins are expected to become available across Apple, Google, and Microsoft over the course of the coming year. Well, the U.S. NIST has updated its guidance on supply chain cybersecurity. It advises organizations to consider vulnerabilities in the components of a finished product they are considering using and not just of the product itself. This includes the journey those components took to reach their destination. The update comes amid surging supply chain attacks like the recent high-profile incidents like SolarWinds and Kaseya. Research finds that supply chain attacks on global organizations have increased by 51% in the second half of 2021. The guidance is primarily aimed at acquirers and end users of products, software, and services. It aims to help these organizations build cybersecurity supply chain risk considerations and requirements into their acquisition processes. Cybersecurity officials around the world are urging organizations to review their agreements with entities they grant system access to for help with various functions. They noted advanced persistent threat actors' plans to increase their use of such entities as vectors for attack. The Five Eyes Intelligence Sharing Alliance, that includes the US, UK, Australia, Canada, and New Zealand, say to expect state-sponsored advanced persistent threat groups and other malicious cyber actors to increase their targeting of managed service providers against both provider and customer networks. The agencies noted their advisory does not address guidance on cloud service providers. The NSA and CISA did weigh in last fall on the responsibilities cloud providers and their customers share when securing the environments and are working to update contracting language to simplify and support agencies' secure cloud procurement. Well, the White House has announced it has gained a new cyber director. Kimba Walden, who will be leaving Microsoft as their assistant general counsel for Digital Crimes Unit, will serve as the first principal deputy national cyber director. Neil Higgins, Robert Knake, who have already been filling roles as deputy national cyber directors, and Walden have all held other positions in government during previous administrations, including CISA. Walden was also appointed to CISA's Cyber Safety Review Board. Healthcare organizations are being warned to prepare for potential hacktivist attacks tied to controversy surrounding the Supreme Court's leaked draft on Roe v. Wade. The recent leak of the Supreme Court's draft ruling overturning Roe v. Wade highlights the need for vigilance and preparation for such attacks. Those who are at highest risk for hacktivist attacks include providers offering reproductive health services on those that refuse to offer certain services, as well as on advocates and lawmakers, members of the judiciary and the executive branch on all sides of the issue. The Colonial Pipeline is facing a nearly $1 million fine after being hit by a cyber attack in May 2021. The fine is being assessed over a series of federal pipeline safety regulation violations. The ransomware attack caused fuel shortages along the U.S. East Coast, where Colonial Pipeline operates a 5,500-mile pipeline that supplies fuel, gasoline, and other petroleum products. The U.S. Department of Transportation's Pipeline and Hazardous Materials Safety Administration issued a list of probable violations and a proposed compliance order to the operator of the largest fuel pipeline in the country. Officials say Colonial Pipeline also did not verify if all safety-related alarm set point values and alarm descriptions were correct from 2017 to 2019. Colonial says its coordination with government stakeholders was timely, efficient, and effective for its ability to restart the pipeline 5 days after the attack. And lastly, $10 million is up for grabs for information leading to the identification or location of anyone who holds a key leadership position within the Conti ransomware gang. The Department of State is also offering a second reward of up to $5 million for information that leads to the arrest or conviction of anyone in any country who wants to participate or did participate in a Conti variant ransomware incident. Conti remains one of the most prolific ransomware groups, claiming an average of 43 victims per month. The ransomware group is responsible for hundreds of incidents over the past 2 years, claiming more than 1,000 victims, paying out more than $150 million. The reward money will come from the State Department's Transnational Organized Crime Rewards Program and is being administered as part of the government's Reward for Justice program. Well, that's going to do it for us. Thank you for watching. You are now in sync with MilCyberSync. We'll see you next week.